I just don't know. Barcelona, every time I hear about them, like, yes, they got talent, but the more I hear about it, the more I hear about how I don't want to say it's like a dumpster fire, but it's just
It
so
is.
chaotic. I feel it's just, I don't know. I think dumpster fire is a bit
It's not a.
harsh.
It's close to
It's
it. It's
close.
it's
Yeah, it's
warming
close.
up.
It's not quite.
The
It's
trash
like,
can's getting filled.
yeah, yeah, they're filling it up. It's a lot of flammable material in there, but they haven't lit the spark yet. um,
I think the only thing stopping
so I
it
think that's
from
what's
actually
gonna, so,
lighting up.
like, it was a surprise. I mean, am I wrong to say it was a surprise that Barcelona even won the league last year? They weren't the best team if you look back.
Ex-
It's just how it ended up in a
Yeah,
way.
I feel that. I feel that same way. Like I don't feel like Barcelona was better than Madrid. I don't think Madrid's team, especially last year. I
They
don't
just had the
think it
chips
was.
fall their way.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
did get
yeah.
lucky in some ways. They did like have
And Real
a
Madrid
better
had
they
Champions
gave
League.
themselves a platform, or not like a platform, a cushion is the word. They gave themselves a cushion. Um so I don't want to say it's not like Barcelona didn't earn it. I think they definitely earned it, but I don't want to say like it's not like, oh my God, Barcelona, they were totally deserved the title. They were the best team. No questions asked. Let's move on to next year. It almost seemed
Yeah,
like, well, shit, how do they even have that cushion? Like when you'd see the cushion they have, and it's like, oh, Barcelona have the league wrapped up already. It was like, really? Like I
yeah,
remember the
but
first time I heard that because I wasn't paying attention for a few weeks, and they're like, yeah, it's over. Like Barcelona, they pretty much won the league. And then I look, and I'm just like, no fucking way. It just seemed to come out of
yeah,
nowhere. And I feel like this season, especially with Madrid making, I mean, the signing of the year, I think, all all clubs, all leagues, I think Bellingham is going to be the signing of the year when it's all said and done. Um, I think that it's going to catch up to Barca this year, and Madrid's going to run away with it. And I think they're off to a good start already. Um, So it's like I said, I'm not too big on La Liga, so I don't really know too much. I'd probably be pulling. I don't know if I want you to ask me the same question I asked you about relegation, because I really would be pulling it out of my ass. Like seriously, I would be just naming fucking teams that I don't know. Um, but at least on the top, that's what I'm thinking. Um, but you have more experience, so I'm sure you can tell me if I'm in the right ballpark and what else you think is going on with La Liga.
okay. So, I don't think Real Madrid's going to run away with it. Real Madrid, at the end of the day, they haven't faced any competition yet.
That's
And I
fair.
think so. I'll start with Real Madrid, and I'll start with Barcelona, and then I'll talk about it as a whole. So, Real Madrid, yes, Bellingham's playing out of his mind, but also to, I mean, who they played? They played Atletico, they played Almeria, and they played Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo, mid-table team that usually pushes for Champions League, Europa League. So that's a solid win. But they only scored in the 82nd minute. I mean, there was draw. That was literally today. I didn't get a chance to really watch it in depth because I was working, but I kind of saw stuff briefly. But I mean, yeah, these are games that you should win. Obviously, it's Jude Bellingham, so they're going to hype it up a little bit more. But I still want to know the answers to how this Real Madrid team is going to work together in this new formation because of the fact that they don't have a striker, which still
Mhm.
blows my mind that they never
That
replaced
is true.
Benzema.
That is
So the
true.
formation,
They
the
didn't
formation
replace
they've been
Benzema, and
running,
yet they still are the team. I mean, that's wild to me. Like, I still see them as the front runner for the league,
but
and yet you're right. They
but
don't have a
that's the
fucking
thing.
striker.
But that's the reason why I don't know if they're a front runner because I think, look, I think Real Madrid's in a
It could
better
catch up to
situation
them,
than
and it
Barca.
probably
I
will.
think I think Real Madrid's in a better situation than Barcelona. I do think because you still have the
I mean,
creativity, and I think
definitely.
Jude Bellingham offers one. But I don't I don't know how well this thing is going to because at the end of the day, Jude Bellingham, yes, he's playing great in the attacking midfield position and the number 10 position, but the dude's not a number 10. He's a central midfielder. He's an 8. He's even said that that's his most comfortable position. He's
Yeah,
an 8.
he's an 8.
And you have Rodrigo, and then you have uh Vinny playing dual forwards. These guys aren't forwards, especially Vinny. Vinny loves to get out wide. I mean, having Benzema there, just the presence of Benzema is one of the biggest reasons why Vinny succeeded. Vinny likes to get wide. He's not a central player. And I think obviously like in my mind, I'm like, man, why didn't just like I understand Real Madrid's holding out for Mbappe. That's why they didn't want to fill that spot with a lot of money. But why not, to me, just get a loan on somebody to fill that striker spot? Because this is a team that's not like Rodrigo and Vinny are not strikers. These guys are out and out true pure wingers. And Jude Bellingham is not an attacking midfielder. He is a eight. He is a central midfielder. And I think it's working now because it's lower level competition. And I think it will continue to work in La Liga personally because I don't think there's going to be a real threat to them. But I'm curious how to see this works in Champions League because I mean, I'm not saying that it
Yeah,
can't
I think
work.
that's where it's
I
gonna be
think it's going to
tough
be I
because
think it's going to
Benzema
be
was
adjustment.
he was helping them a lot in Champions League.
Yeah. And Ancelotti just said that they're not making any more signings in the transfer window. So obviously Real Madrid they're pulling an Inter Miami where they're not signing anybody until Mbappe gets through the door. But to me, I'm like, man, just get a loan just to hold you over. I mean, like I feel like you could, but then again, I mean, obviously Militao's out, so ACL, Courtois out, ACL, Kepa, from what I heard, didn't look so good. I'm gonna have to watch the tape. I didn't get the chance to really like see what happened there. Um, I think there's still a lot of question marks for Real Madrid. Like, because how's Kepa going to hold up? How is that back line going to hold up without Militao? Like, how's it going to be without a striker and a number 10? Like, I mean, I don't think Real Madrid is built to have a number 10. I think they're fine with Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, and Valverde. I think those are three creative players. They're not true 10, but like they're creative enough to where you can outlet to the wingers and Rodrigo and Vinny. So I'm curious to see how that goes. As for Barca, I think Barca is in a very vulnerable spot right now. I mean, obviously they just pulled off. They tied against the Tafe, and then they won 2-0 against Gailis, but it wasn't a pretty showing. And the thing with Barca is they didn't make the signings they needed to make. They needed wingers, and they signed no wingers. And then you lose a winger in Dembele. And granted, I know a lot of Barca fans are like, well, Dembele was injured anyways. But like, yes, I get that. Dembele was injury prone. He always is injury prone. He's probably still going to be injury prone at PSG. So maybe it was best to move on from him. But like, let's not deny that Dembele was the best winger on that team. Rafinha is not living up to the hype. Rafinha is not good. And you have no pure left winger. They need a world-class winger, and they need a number 10 to give service to Lewandowski. This system is just not working for Lewandowski. And the one thing I will say that Barca fans understand, and they're not going after Lewandowski, which I'm glad to hear because I think Lewandowski deserves better than that. The dude is just not getting service. He's not. He's not getting service. Pedri's not a 10. You Barca's in the situation where they have so many central midfielders. They have so many central and defending midfielders. Dude, they have Gudigan. They have fucking De Jong, Pedri, Gavi, Ramu. Like, fuck. I mean, you have so many central midfielders, all these number eights. Like, sell one of them and bring in a world-class winger because and I know there's talks of Joao Felix coming and Cancelo coming, and I think that's going to be huge because I think that's also a position need is right back because they've been having Araujo and Kunde kind of like switch back and forth between that, even though Kunde's been playing more so central center back. They need a right back, and I think bringing in Cancelo is going to be a huge boost to the right side because I think Balde's been playing really well, replacing Alba on the left side. So I think bringing letting Araujo and Kunde play in their traditional center back positions, and then having a Cancelo, a world class right back, and it looks like he's not going to play at City. He had an amazing year at Bayern. Like, it's a perfect fit. You got to get him. Whatever you can do, get him. And then same thing with Joao Felix. Joao Felix, little hit or miss. He's been kind of like, he had moments of greatness at Chelsea, and he obviously played well in the World Cup. But then there's like he needs to remain consistent, and I think having somebody in front of him like a Lewandowski can really help. And I think it would also help Lewandowski because at the end of the day, like last year, people were like they're playing Lewandowski like he's a target man. He's not a target man. This is a guy who's had
He's a
Muller behind
complete
him.
forward.
This is a guy who's had Muller behind him almost his entire career. And yeah, he doesn't have the physicality and the speed anymore, but he still has the technical ability. And if you can give him service, you can. I just
Yeah,
don't know with
he's probably
Xavi's
has the
tactics.
best finish or not finishing. He has the best positioning of any striker I've ever seen. So,
Yeah.
but I
And
mean,
I
people
do
would argue
think
that, but I think he's the best. He's the best positional striker in history. I think.
And I think Gudigan has been a great pickup. I think he's awesome.
Oh,
He brings a veteran presence.
I've
He's a
always
great
loved him.
replacement.
I've
He's been a
always rated him.
Yeah, and I think he's been a great replacement for Busquets now that Busquets is no longer here. So, but you still getting that issue where you need a left winger. I think if you're going to bring in a guy like Lewandowski, you got to be a 10. You can't run a 4-3-3 with him. I think you got to be a 4-2-3-1. And I know that's not really the wave in the top 5 leagues too much anymore. And I know Barca hasn't done it so much, but I think that's the way you got to go. I think I think these central midfielders have proved time and time again that they do not have creativity. And you need to bring in a guy, attacking midfielder, who can bring creativity. And I think Joao Felix is that perfect guy. Obviously, Atletico Madrid doesn't want him. Or they want to move on from him and sell him and get the money. Just do it. You know what I mean? You still get the glaring issue of what do you do with the left wing position? So you might have to switch to a 4-4-2, and maybe that could work. Um, I think that would probably be your best bet until you're able to get a left winger. It's like if you can get a back four, run a 4-4-2 diamond. I mean, because to me, my top midfielders, I want Gudigan in there. I want De Jong in there, Pedri, and then you have João Felix at the top. And then you run Rafinha and uh what's it called? Lewandowski, even though I'm just not high on Rafinha, but I think the biggest issue with this team is wingers and a playmaker. Obviously right back, but I think they're gonna get that Cancelo. But yeah, I think La Liga as a whole, I don't know who's gonna win this because I don't feel like no team is strong in there. I think Real Madrid has its issues. They
Yeah,
have
you do make
injury
a good
issues. They
point.
don't have a striker.
You make a very
And
good
then
point about
Barca,
Madrid. It is tough. I mean, I think based on last season, yeah, I know it's tough now because that is a great point. Not having Benzema and just not signing any striker definitely makes you think about it. I think I would still pick Madrid. I think
I
they're
think
gonna
if I
cope.
had to pick, I think if I had to pick, I'm gonna go Madrid. I think Madrid's definitely gonna make it farther in Champions League, 100%. But I mean, you never know. Like the thing is, the problem with Madrid, and this is what happened last year, is like they lose games they should win in league play. They lose these random games against these like random team, like these low club teams, like
And then
that they
they
should
play
win,
like El Clasico at Barcelona
and
and
then
they
they
thrash them.
win, and then
Yeah,
they win
I could.
Champions
Yeah,
Leagues. They
that
go to
I know.
Champions League
Yeah, that I've
final.
seen.
And that's the problem. And but Barca, and the reason why they won last year is they're winning games that they should win. And really that's what it comes down to the league race in La Liga. It's like win the games you should win. And that's why I don't know. I think it's open in the air. I want to say though, I'm going to lean towards Madrid because I feel like even though with the issues they have, they're a little bit more complete than Barca
Yeah,
is.
that's what I'm
Um,
thinking too.
and you know the sad thing is that this is a perfect opportunity for Atletico, but Atletico they're kind of all over the place too right now.
Yeah,
But I think Atletico can compete though. I will say
yeah.
that I think
No, they
Atletico
could
will
definitely
compete.
compete, but there's definitely a reason I didn't mention them this time around.
And it's
Um,
like, dude, this is the perfect opportunity for Atletico to take advantage, get to. But I think they're going to compete. Obviously, Atletico's always the perennial third, but I think they're going to compete. I think it's going to be close. I think it might be pretty damn close. As for that fourth spot, um, I don't know. I think it could be pretty open. I think everything's kind of soon. I feel like everybody's kind of drawn and beat everybody. No one's looked super
yeah.
dominant,
I mean,
and it stood
Valencia had
out
a
to
good
me.
start to the season.
They had a good start, but Valencia played very weak opposition. I mean, I
Yeah.
you want to talk about a surprise relegation team that might happen? You want to talk about the Everton of La Liga right now? Is Sevilla. Sevilla might
I've heard
Sevilla is
stuff.
going through a shit show. Obviously, Sevilla just recently announced that they have to get rid of everybody. Europa League champions, they're playing in Champions League, man.
It's fucking
And
insane. It's
and now
crazy.
they're
That
gonna
is
get
crazy.
absolutely obliterated. Obviously, I don't know if you just saw Nottingham Forest just signed Gonzalo Montiel, from Sevilla. So And that just proves that Sevilla's just trying to like clean. They got to, I guess they have financial issues. I don't know too much in depth about what's happening there, but they got to get rid of everybody. And it sucks to see like this team just, that Sevilla was a really good team last year. They went all in on Europa League. They won it. They qualified for Champions League through there. And now they're just going to get thrashed in Champions League because they have to get rid of literally everybody.
Yeah,
So,
that's a very
so
interesting point.
and
That's gonna be
and
cool to see how that turns
and
out.
it and then if Sevilla ends up getting relegated after being in the Champions League this season, that'd be insane. I don't think they will, because at the end of the day, it's Sevilla. But like they're looking like an Everton right now, like with no bright spot at all.
Mm,
Like it's looking hella sketchy. I mean, there's talks of Bono leaving, which is obviously their star freaking keeper. So I don't know. It's going to be pretty interesting,
yeah,
but
yeah, we'll definitely talk more about it.
I'm curious to see what. And then I think, and then I'll end it here with Valencia. I think Valencia is entering a new era. I mean, they got a bunch of young cats over there, and I'm curious to see how they perform. Like I said, right now they've won their first 2 games, but it was pretty easy competition. I mean, Sevilla was a big win, but
Yeah,
I can't really rate Sevilla anymore because of
yeah.
what's happened and what's gone down. So I think La Liga is going to be pretty damn interesting, I will say.